Donald Trump's cognitive and physical health continues to rapidly collapse as he is engaged in some of the most destructive behavior as well, further escalating the war against Iran, violating the Memorandum of Understanding, having a psychologically, cognitively, physically deteriorating individual making these destructive decisions is something that even Donald Trump's close staff members are raising the red alert right now. We're hearing from a lot of people in the medical field raising the red alert right now. We previously reported here on the MeidasTouch network how the Iranian negotiating team clinically diagnosed Donald Trump as mentally ill, and that they brought psychiatrists and psychologists and other mental health professionals to show how you deal with a 5150 individual who should be under a psychological hold, how you even are supposed to conduct negotiations. And Donald Trump's cognitive and physical decline was an important factor that informed how Iran structured the 14-point Memorandum of Understanding that Donald Trump continues to violate, because Iran knew that he would always violate this, and they knew that his behavior would be erratic and it would be oscillating and going back and forth one day to the next. So Iran made sure that it would extract certain benefits right there from the outset. And so I want to provide you with some data points. I want to provide you with some red alerts from Donald Trump's staff members that are leaking information out to the press. I want to share with you what some renowned pathologists are saying right now. By the way, the American people finally get it. I think this is an important topic that we've continued to bring up here on the MeidasTouch network, because you saw how this was framed with former President Biden, who was old and who would stutter, but he would make sound decisions. Donald Trump's rapidly declining cognitive and physical abilities, just completely deteriorating cognitive abilities, is resulting in massive suffering of the American people and psychological torture on the American people. The majority of Americans now are very clear that Donald Trump is concealing his massive cognitive and physical issues. Only 34% of Americans in the latest Quinnipiac poll think Donald Trump is being honest about his health. And just when you see the behavior that he exhibits, again, every single day, when he holds these press conferences, he falls asleep in public. And when he does wake up, he says things that are just so out there, or he doesn't know where he is, he can't complete sentences, or he does what's called disinhibition, where he starts yelling at people and screaming at people and telling them they're dumb. Or one of the recent types of disinhibition we've seen from Donald Trump is like where he'll say how attracted he is to different men. Oh, you're so muscular. Can I touch you? I want to touch your leg. I want to really touch you. And, I think that goes back kind of deep into Donald Trump's, I won't go there. Let me show you what Donald Trump was saying in the Oval Office over here. Just to give you some data points over here. Like when Donald Trump, he was sleeping, then he wakes up and he goes, "Did you know that grass has a life like people? Did you know that?" Here, let me show you this. Let's play this clip.
But we fix those. Grass has a life.
Then Donald Trump fell asleep during that event. I'll share this with you. Let's play this clip.
To be kept in a closet. We saw over and over again students being told they can form a club, but not if it's a religious club. They can speak.
An event that Donald Trump was doing where he kept on falling asleep. He falls asleep at all these events, but this was about quantum technology. And Donald Trump says he doesn't know what quantum is. You guys know what quantum is? Here, play this clip.
The second order I'm signing directs federal agency to transition to what is called quantum cryptography. Do anybody know what that is? You're going to hear very soon, so you're going to find it interesting. Cryptography.
And then I'll just share with you once again, great work, ASIN, on our team, showing Donald Trump sleeping right here. Let's play it.
For more than a decade in quantum. And back
now, yesterday, Donald Trump even posted this photograph of himself and former President Obama. I mean, just think about the level of obsession and derangedness going on that he even's oddly making these posts about former President Obama. But Donald Trump gets his own age wrong. So Donald Trump posts this photo of himself at the age of 20 and Obama at the age of 18. Only problem is Donald Trump wasn't 20 there. Donald Trump at most was 17 years old. Maybe he was 15 years old. Anyway, this was the military boarding school that Donald Trump was sent to because of his bullying, behavioral issues, and some other things that I think Fred had seen as well. Go back into what I said before. And I think that, anyway, Donald Trump posted this photo and acting like he's 20 wearing a military uniform as though he was like in the military, right? No, this was a military boarding school. He faked injuries and said he had bone spurs. And it's just a weird thing to post. He wasn't 20 years old. Like, he is lying about his age in this photo. Very strange and odd behavior right there. But as I said, the important thing to remember here is that this deranged behavior is now bringing us closer to the brink of complete devastation. I mean, just think about it. I mean, he's violated the MOU. He continues to attack Iran all of the time. He's not abiding by the terms of the MOU. He's erratic. He posts the craziest things. He posted earlier yesterday that he wants to annihilate the civilization of Iran again. I mean, he said, we will destroy all of Iran. I mean, you're supposed to be in a ceasefire. Article 1 says you're not supposed to say it. I mean, who talks and sounds like that, especially the president of the United States? And in the Oval Office, in between sleeping, he was asked, what are you going to do about Iran? You'll find out, you'll find out, you'll find out. And obviously people like Netanyahu and Rubio and others, could see some. I mean, look, I'm not trying to act like Trump has no agency. I mean, he's a horrible, vile, war criminal piece of trash who deserves to be held accountable for all of his crimes, despicable behavior, being a sexual predator, everything. I'm not letting him off at all. I'm just saying this is a guy who's just, completely collapsing before our eyes. And here's what he said. You'll find out. You'll find out. Here, let's play this clip.
On Iran, Mr. President, you said that Iran violated the ceasefire.
Yeah,
Will they face any consequences?
Well, you'll find out.
Do you consider the ceasefire to still be in place?
I don't like the fact that they took a shot yesterday. Actually, 4. We knocked down 3.
Now, as I note, Donald Trump's top aides have been noting all of his health issues and where he's been holding meetings because he can't hear. He really can't function. This is from the book Regime Change. Let's play it.
A dramatic reading. Quote, he, the president, was also having trouble hearing, asking people to repeat questions they just asked. Joint press conferences with world leaders were more often held in the Oval Office than in the East Room, in part because the acoustics were better and he didn't have to stand for an hour. That excerpt is from Regime Change Inside the Imperial Presidency of Donald Trump, released like less than 24 hours ago, but it's already sold out.
And here's what Maggie Haberman had to say as well about staff telling Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan about how Donald Trump can't really hear anymore. Here, let's play this clip.
Aides are aware that he is older. What exactly goes on with Donald Trump's health is one of the mysteries, right, of the last 10 years. And he is very secretive about his health. We also talk about how this is a White House, despite these displays of transparency. They're very good at keeping secrets when they want to. This is always one of them. But he is moving differently. He has the swelling in the ankles, which, he was so irritated about the coverage of, that he had the press secretary go out and talk about. And most people in the White House thought it was a little strange to be going out and talking about cankles, as we write. But he's very, very sensitive about his appearance. The hearing is an issue. They've all been aware of it for a while, and it's been happening for a while. The fact that he just is older. At 80, it is harder to mask it. And so they are all aware of it. What exactly that portends, they don't know. But he is not a young man.
That brings me over here to Mary Trump. And Mary Trump talks about the Alzheimer's in her family and how this was an interview she gave. Shout out to Joy Reid as well. I mean, this is on Joy Reid's program. And Mary Trump tells Joy Reid, look, Donald Trump reminds me a lot of Fred and Alzheimer's. Here, play this clip.
Bad as his physical appearance is, and it does suggest this is not an ad hominem attack. I'm just saying, as you said, his cankles are cankling. His hands look terrible. They're swollen. They're bruised. He is incapable of staying awake. He's incapable of focusing on anything. His new thing is to tell people that nobody's interested in what they're talking about, and that I guess only happens if they're not talking about him. So that is all of those are bad signs in terms of his potential physical ailments. And of course, some of those, like the hypersomnia and the lack of impulse control, are also potential signs of cognitive decline. As many of you know, Alzheimer's runs in my family. Hopefully it's going to skip my generation, but it does run in my family. And I see similarities between my grandfather's behavior and Donald's behavior, my grandfather being Donald's dad. But we're dealing with a perfect storm here of psychological, emotional, physical, and cognitive decline. Because for those who don't know, Donald has long-standing, like decades-long, severe, undiagnosed, untreated psychiatric disorders on top of everything else.
And those psychiatric disorders, we've had Dr. John Gardner on, who's talked about the fact that he is a clinical narcissist. He's got narcissistic personality disorder, which you've talked about as well. Yeah. As you said, he's sundowning. He's got, as did your grandfather, early Alzheimer's. He at least appears to have that. But beyond narcissistic personality disorder, you as a psychologist, what else do you see going on there? Well,
technically diagnosis is a process. So I can't diagnose him. He's not my patient. And also he needs to go through a very lengthy battery of tests. But I think my position on this is, one, there's certainly a lot of comorbidity going on, which means that it's not just one thing. But more to the point, I think we're beyond having that matter anymore. How is he behaving?
Yeah.
And the ways in which he is behaving are increasingly alarming. I hear a lot of former allies saying that they don't recognize him anymore. Can I swear?
Yes, you can. We are not on broadcast news, nor can we be fined by the FCC.
I just always like to check. It's bullshit that he's different. What's happening is because of this perfect storm of decline, Donald is revealing who he's always been. And that's part of his issue right now. He's lost control of not just himself, but of the narrative he's been spinning about himself since the 70s.
Now, the part, though, that I think is important from this interview, that was important, but how nihilistic Donald Trump is and how Donald Trump is in his remaining, years or days or years. And Mary Trump sees that, and she goes that he wants to put his name on everything because, he just only sees himself as the only thing that exists in the universe. So she says that nihilism is also, in a way, so dangerous because he wants to destroy everything and bring everybody down with him as he collapses in his last days. If he can't be around, if he can't be alive, if he can't see it, he's been this miserable thing, this miserable creature. He's never been satiated. He wants everybody to feel the pain. That's her assessment of him. Here, play this clip.
Bolstering what has always been a very fragile ego and helping him avoid the reality that he's nothing that he's claimed to be. He was never a self-made man. He was never a savvy, brilliant entrepreneur or real estate guy. So I didn't, I don't think I really thought about it much, but after my grandfather died, I realized something essential, that my grandfather really cared about legacy. But as soon as humanly possible after my grandfather died, Donald insisted to his siblings that they sell my grandfather's entire empire because he needed the cash. So that got me thinking, what does he care about? And I think you're absolutely right. There is this sense of accelerating desperation that he put his imprint on everything, maybe as a way of staving off his mortality. I don't know. But the truth of the matter is Donald's a nihilist. And I think the putting his name on things is a way to pretend that maybe things aren't going badly for him. It's a way for him to fill a void, because and I don't mean to be reductive here, but one of the main reasons we're at this point is because Donald has never been loved. And the thing he's most wanted in his life is to be loved. And that's a void he can't fill. So he'll just keep putting his name on things. He'll get richer. He'll get more power. Nothing is going to make him feel better, though. So his being a nihilist means that he doesn't actually believe that anybody can or should exist beyond him, which makes him very dangerous because as he's losing it, and we see it happening, he is not going to be able to protect himself from the massive amounts of humiliation he's going to feel as soon as he recognizes that he is an incompetent loser, right? And if he thinks he's going down, I don't think he's going to have any compunction about trying to take us down too.
Now, in addition, Donald Trump's neurological decline also seemed to have been exposed during that speech he gave the other day in Washington, D.C. with that crowd that walked out in the middle of it. In a recent video, Hillary Shea, a licensed speech language pathologist, pointed out that Donald Trump couldn't say basic words. And she explained as a pathologist, these are signs, not saying that Trump hasn't. She says these are signs that she sees with people who suffer from Alzheimer's and dementia. It's very, very common. It's a great analysis that she gives. And I think it's spot on. Here, play this clip.
The number of paraphasias or sound distortions was significant for that amount of time. And thankfully, this creator, Zeus, helped me with collecting a lot.
Listen to all these words Trump struggled to say tonight. He's losing it. He couldn't say 250th anniversary.
We're in Space Museum and renovated the United States Capitol for our 250th anniversary. We are likewise...
He couldn't say the word magnificent.
And just across the bridge in front of Arlington Cemetery, we're building a magnificent, really beautiful. This is going to be something you're going to like.
He couldn't say the words ancient ruins.
The great civilizations of history did not wallow in aging ruins of the past. They built new cities. They created new monuments.
He even struggled to say Los Angeles.
I know everyone joins me in wishing Team USA good luck in their match tomorrow against Turkey and Los Angeles.
And then he struggled to say the word horizon.
Now we are expanding the glory of American freedom into horizon, really into a horizon that's never been seen before. We've never reached so high as we're reaching.
Difficulties that Donald Trump has with saying specific words are consistent with dysarthria and ataxia or apraxia. They can occur after stroke. They can occur with other brain disorders and dementia. And what happens specifically with the apraxia or ataxia are phonemic paraphasias. Phonemic paraphasias are when the motor speech required to coordinate words and syllables together are not coordinated appropriately. For example, if I wanted to say telephone, but I accidentally said teflon, that would be a phonemic paraphasia because my sounds got mixed up. And that is what's happening a lot of the times with Donald Trump's speech. The coordination for these syllables in order and in connected speech, it's not just one word, because the more syllables that you have, the higher level motor coordination is required to maintain appropriate speech sound coordination. There's also something called dysarthria. And dysarthria is kind of like weakness over time of use. So when someone is speaking and over a short period of time, they might lose their breath, their voice might go really low, or their ability to kind of say the words can be problematic. He does that a lot in this speech, and I do think that is one of the newer symptoms that has happened within the last month or so, where he has this dysarthria. That could be consistent with a TIA, which is a transient ischemic attack, or a stroke. And what happens is he is kind of trailing off at the ends of the words. So he has this difficulty with coordinating the sounds. And then also he's kind of just losing it. So especially 3 syllables or more, words like Los Angeles, that one was less of a paraphasia where the sounds were not coordinated properly, and just he didn't really finish the word. So that would be consistent with the dysarthria. And it's absolutely possible to have a mix of apraxia ataxia with dysarthria. And there are a lot of of neurological reasons why that might be happening. The fact that there were so many examples of these speech difficulties in one 30-minute speech means that Donald Trump is getting worse. Whatever is going on, whether it's a dementia, whether it's stroke, whether it's combination, whether it's congestive heart failure, whether it's whatever it might be, his neurological abilities are declining significantly. If you go back even 2 years, you will not see this many phonemic paraphasias and other motor speech coordination issues within a 30-minute speech. I guarantee it. So his brain is declining, and it's declining quickly. And what that means for us is that we have a president who is no longer fit for office.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think about all of this. I think we brought the receipts, brought the data. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. You may think you're subscribed, but you may not actually be subscribed. So please hit subscribe if you can. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.